100 inches plus. So I don't know if we'll get there in July. We'll see, but it's getting exciting nonetheless. You guys can still join July if you're feeling froggy and you want to do that. Y'all can join July. You have almost 10 days left to put some numbers in. If not, then join us for August, because August is the last month of this event and the last chance that you get to fish possibly on my team in Alabama. So I have all the information in the show notes below so that you guys can see how it works, what the prizes are, how you get in. But essentially, if you win any of these months in first place, you get to join my team in Alabama. And that's when we go against 11 other teams led by content creators, Chad Hoover, Darren Wendell, JT from Fishing with Gramps, John from Creek Fishing Adventure, tons of guys. Really excited to do this. So make sure you guys sign up for August. So let me get this off of here. And last things last, we have the next show is going to be August 4th. So get it on your calendars. We're talking to Cody Walling of Cody Walling Fishing. And this episode is specifically and especially for the big boys, because we're going to talk about all things big boys, big boy kayaks, big boy safety and gear. And I'm not talking big boy like 200 pounds. I'm talking like 300 pounds, 350 pounds, right? So if you want to get on a kayak, what's the best way to do that? All right. So again, August 4th. So let me stop blabbing, bro. We got the homie.
Yo.
Bro.
What's up?
Yo, glad to have you on, like always. And of course,
good to be here.
The man, Cris Blanco. What's up, bro?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Yo, thank you for joining us, man. We're super excited to have you. Excited to go through everything that you saw at iCast. So I was following your feed the entire time, and dude, you didn't stop. Like you shared a little bit of everything, which was really dope.
It is what it is, right? You try to grind through the show and showcase as much as you can. There's many booths there, but it was fun, man. Hella fun.
Dude, I can't imagine how big that thing is. So I'm excited to go next year, but I can't imagine trying to cover everything that you can is going to be absolutely breathtaking.
Had to be an amazing experience, too. Was it your first time?
So this is my third time in the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does it get better every year, or...
So I think, from that perspective, my first year, which was 2022, it was a little bit overwhelming. First time there. It's really like Disney for anglers, right? There's no other way to explain it. It's literally going to Disney World for the first time. If you're a kayak angler or angler, whatever, right? It's just that awesome. So, I would say the first year, is very different than the next 2 years. But there's always a lot of positive to take out from that show, right?
Yeah,
that's dope, bro. So we'll get into some of the specifics, but for the people who don't know Cris, can you tell us a little bit about how you got into fishing and how you got into specifically content creation around kayak fishing?
Yeah, sure. So I moved to the United States 6 years ago. I used to fish, for marlin, tuna when I was younger with my granddad, stopped for a while. I lived in a town called Weston in Broward County, and I saw peacock bass on my backyard. So I said, you know what, let me just grab a rod and see what happens. And from there, the first fish, it became an instant addiction again, right? It just took me back to my old ways when I was younger. And from there, I started doing bank tournaments. An opportunity presented to do one kayak tournament. I didn't have one, so I just bought a cheap paddle kayak, and I actually won that tournament. So that got me very excited. I decided to, invest a little bit more money. Throughout these years, I've bought and sold a lot of kayaks. So that's, progressively I got in the vessel that I like, and at this moment I'm very happy with what I have. And through those years, I've just become very involved in the industry. I want to learn as much as possible. And I had the opportunity to create content with an old GoPro that I had. So I said, why not, right? I started creating content, and then that kind of evolved through the years. I spent more money here and there, and that's, that's how we ended up where we're at now.
Yeah. Okay.
How did you win that tournament? What was the...
So it's funny. I've been to that lake many times on a jump boat, right? And I did two bank tournaments and a jump boat. Not a tournament, just hang out with a friend. and I always got skunked. So
Really?
I hated that lake. It was really a community lake. And then, for the sake of it, I went to the tournament. I grabbed a cheap jerkbait, no brand or whatever, and
Hmm.
I started catching them on the bank. It was instant, instant catches.
I like to
So
hear that's my favorite. That's my favorite bait of choice. I throw it well almost all year round. In these hotter months, I don't, but every once in a while, But I love it. Anytime you come look at my kayak, you'll see jerk bait tied on usually.
A lot of them, a
Yeah.
lot of jerk baits.
Yeah, I love them.
that's something I don't even fish with. I should, so I'm not saying it's right, but I don't use them that much anymore because we have so much grass here in the lakes we fish, like Toho. It's full on grass, so it's hard to throw a jerk bait there. But it's something I need to go back to my roots, right? That's how I won that tournament. Maybe I should use it again.
Yeah.
Word. My bad. I'm over here uploading video to the Facebook group. All right, that's cool. So another question I like to ask everybody that comes on real quick, and it has nothing to do with iCast, is what's your favorite snack when you're kayak fishing?
Oh, my favorite snack. So there's the unhealthy snack, and then there's the healthy snack.
Okay.
The unhealthy snack is M&Ms.
Okay.
I love them, man. I don't know why, but
Original or peanut?
peanut M&Ms.
Has
Yeah,
to be
if I
peanut, bro.
yeah,
Yeah.
if I find almond like fresh off the I love them, but I'd rather peanut is the way to go.
Okay.
So that's my unhealthy snack. But I've been transitioning, and now I'm eating more cashews, more nuts, just to stay on the healthier side.
I
hear
feel you.
that.
I mean, I
hear
got
that.
a healthy, unhealthy too, because I like fruit. Fruit's like my go-to when I'm fishing. Like I like grapes,
Okay.
watermelon, anything like that. But if I'm not feeling healthy, then I'll grab like a bag of chips or whatever. But something crunchy. I like a mixture. So something salty, something sweet.
Yeah.
M&M's is a good call, but I feel like they would melt in Florida like, right away.
They do if you.
I end up doing the payday. I love the payday.
Oh, those are good.
Without the chocolate on it, just the peanut and the caramel. That one, and it really brings you back to life too. I feel like I don't know. Sometimes
That's the only candy bar I like, bro. I don't do candy bars. Paydays though, a good one.
I like Snickers here and there. It's a good treat.
You know which one I used to love? Was it Babe Ruth or what's the name of it? Babe Ruth. I used. Yeah, that was a good one. I don't do candy bars too much. I'd rather just stick with the M&Ms for sake of simplicity. But
yeah, our boy Jake put us on the beef jerky. I mean, I always did beef jerky. I just never did it on the water, but I like it makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Beef
oh yeah, it just gets pricey. It gets pricey though.
Yeah. Speaking of pricey on the water, my boy Izzy one time he broke out like this. It was like these dried French baguettes with like these like fancy. It was like provolone and like some salami. He's like,
oh wow.
I was like, yeah, let me get some of that.
Gourmet.
Yeah, it was like that joint was alright.
Yeah,
he brought a charcuterie board to that.
Yeah. He'd be on his healthy
box
for sure. Yeah, and yeah, it was a treat because I didn't have much that day, so he hooked me up with that, a Nutri-Grain bar, and some fruit. I forgot what fruit he had. He pulled out a banana. I was like,
no bananas.
I don't do that no more, bro. I did that. I did that with Juan a couple of times.
Yeah. I used to do it too, and then I don't do it no more.
Nah. Yo, Michael S just dropped some wisdom right here, bro. He said a Babe Ruth is a chocolate covered payday.
That's a good.
I've never thought about that.
It is essentially.
Yo, straight up.
Yo, so all right, cool. So because I kind of went because I heard about something. I don't want to steer you away, Jay. So I'll keep my comment to myself. But I was thinking about something, Chris, you said earlier about something being discontinued this year, and I was surprised.
Oh, yeah.
So before we even get there and touch the subject, because I don't want to throw Jay off or jump the gun here. Go ahead, Jay.
No, go for it, bro.
Yeah.
That's a good question. Yeah.
So, all right. So, I'm a PA-14 owner, and I 100% anticipated to put a bow mount on there, and I was excited when they came out with that XI3. And now I hear, according to you want to drop the news on us?
Yeah, I mean, sadly, the XI3 is going to be discontinued. So there's a few things that happen with that. you get, I don't know how we're gonna have to figure out throughout, the coming months how's that gonna work, but warranty is very important, right? Are they gonna service these motors throughout how many years? And obviously the fact that now you don't have like a native, bow mounted trolling motor with a 36-inch shaft that's on that price range, right? We can talk about, the new release, but so that makes, it actually, if you look at the two kayaks that released, they're meant to have two motors, but one of them has been discontinued. So how does that work, right? That's a good question that I've had for a couple of days in my mind.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. So, well, you mentioned the, before we get to that, you mentioned the kayaks. So because I want to leave space. This is going to be, I thought we would have time to talk about a lot of things, but being as polarizing as the drop from Bonafide was, if you guys haven't seen Bonafide drop the new kayak, the XTR 130, and everyone is in a tizzy about it because it's either, a perfect kayak for a big guy or just get a bass boat. Like, and those are the two comments that I've been hearing. Like, it's not a kayak if you can't paddle it, and it's definitely not meant to be paddled. But since everyone saw the videos, the same video on the release, what was your impression seeing the kayak there at the show?
So my first impression, I said that's a boat, right? But as I went through the show and started, I had a good conversation with Alex there on the show. I had a conversation prior to the video I recorded with Hans, and then I kind of reversed that thought, and I honestly think it's a kayak. It's a modernized kayak. There's a lot of, if you look at the trend, right, and how the industry has shifted through the last years, I think it really mimics, or it goes in the same direction a lot of the kayaks that have been released lately go, right? They're prioritizing motorized vessels, right? You can look at the Propel 12.5. Yes, it has a drive, but it's really built to be a fully motorized vessel, right? And then you have the U10, the U12 from NuCanoe. Those are, meant to be motorized. So I just think it's following the normal progression of kayak fishing, right? I personally, if it was me and I had to choose one, I would say a kayak.
Mm-hmm. So it's I'd still say it's a kayak. I mean, it has a lot of features that you won't find on a lot of kayaks.
Mm-hmm.
It has a stupid amount of storage.
Mm-hmm.
And the way, I mean, it is meant to be rigged up. Like, you're not putting that on a kayak cart, you're trailering that.
Yep.
Yeah.
But most of us with big kayaks are already trailering. I'm not, carting my autopilot 136. I don't want to, so I trailer it.
But I'll give you an example. Like a fully fitted Propel 12.5 weighs, I think it's 2 more pounds than the fully fitted XTR 130. And a lot of people,
that's the Titan X.
Yeah, the Propel 12.5. So that's what I'm saying, right? It looks like it's gonna be a hard vessel to cart. Definitely, I agree on that point. But nowadays, in my tournament trails, I had at least 50%, 60% of the people are already using trailers, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's progressed.
I think too. I think like with the tiny boat market, when you consider anything, a John boat, the smallest John boat starts at 10 feet. Then you're going to 12, and then you're going to 14.
Yeah.
And we have kayaks in the industry that lengths. So it's, and you wouldn't, for the most part, you don't put a John boat in the back of your truck. You can, so, this idea of it having to be trailered and that, I think, the industry is going there. And I think that if you want more stability and you want more security on the water, then you definitely want to have something that's more prone to be trailered. Especially with all the possibilities of accessories and things like that. And I think that it was interesting that if you'd like, you could bring somebody on board with you, which I really think caters to possibly, dads and, people with partners, you know what I mean?
I would not take my wife out on that. I'm just saying that right now. I take my kids out.
Yeah.
I don't know, 2 grown people on a kayak. I feel like that's much.
They did pretty
Well,
deep.
but on the video you had Flipmaster and you had Chad Hoover mounted.
It's not a matter of it can't be done. I just don't want it. I don't like someone casting that close to me. That's why we're in kayak. Like for me, that's why I'm in a kayak, because I can go fishing with y'all, and then we can talk and BS, and then we split up, and then you know what I mean. You're not tied to one another, so
yeah.
I think it's a polarizing topic, but I think it's because in reality we've steered away from what kayaks were, right, and the intention of why kayaks came into the industry, paddle sports, and then it took us a few years, but we accepted pedal drives, right? But now we're looking at if you look at that, this is the biggest challenge with the XTR, in my opinion, right? What happens when you don't have a motor on? And somebody made a good point on the chat, right? What happens when you don't have a model? Can you really paddle that thing or not? So we're steering away from what the traditional kayaks are, which are paddle operated or pedal drive operated. But when I look at dimensions, when I look at price points, other than that deck that it has in the bow, it really feels like a kayak, right?
It does.
No. Yeah.
I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, my bad. It's. I would still say it's a kayak for sure. I mean, I don't know. It depends where you draw the line of what your definition of a kayak is. If your definition of a kayak is something you throw over your shoulder and walk it to shore, and you can paddle it, then that's that definition's been long gone to most of our vessels that we have. It's not a throw and go. I think there's been a lot of decline into throw and go kayaks. The inflatable market's coming up, and there's one that I have a video from you on there too, which we'll talk about in a second. So it's not that that's going away, but I will say, and me and Juan kind of disagree on this, but what you mentioned, Chris, is that I think the market is going fully towards motorized kayaks. I think they're even leaving pedal drives behind, and they're not prioritizing that. And part of it is the fact that it doesn't make sense anymore financially. A good pedal drive is $1,500. Any of the good pedal drives, you're going to be in that $1,500 price point, but also a good motor is going to be in that price point. So, it doesn't make sense to have both of them if you're on a budget.
Yeah, and just think about it for a second. Look at it from the corporate aspect. These companies do R&D. They look at what's being selling. So I feel, and I could be totally wrong here, that is if you look at the state of the industry right now, I think kayak anglers that do tournaments or use motorized kayaks are really the ones that are driving the volume right now, right? If you're a recreational paddler and you just fish now and then, you can just go to the marketplace, grab a cheap kayak, and use it for a couple of years here and there. So I just think they did the research and thought it's a niche that's worth for them to invest in. Obviously there's challenges. Look at the Old Town EPDL. Obviously it's expensive. It has its set of challenges, but it definitely fits a niche, right? And these companies make these decisions based on their market research.
Yeah,
definitely, and I have to agree with that. I think that for the new guys coming in, and I mean I'm talking like the real new guys coming in who really don't understand what they're getting into, because even I a little bit didn't understand what I was getting into when I got my kayak, because you get the kayak and then I realized, okay, I need a battery for my GPS. Wait, I need a GPS unit. I need to mount it. Oh, okay. And then it started getting like a little bit,
it gets carried away quick,
very quickly. And so my I guess my biggest concern was it almost plays on the more naive person to think like, oh, this has everything I need, when in reality it has nothing you need, and how much it's really going to cost to really get that to where it needs to be at all. I think the bare bones price point is amazing. I think that its ability is amazing. I think the design, the front deck, I think that you can fit 2 people on. I think all those things are great. And I think all those things included for that price point are amazing. But I think that once you consider all the different things that you have to put on it just to get it at a very basic functional way, you're still spending a decent amount of money. I mean, just to put a motor on the back, and let's say you get the cheap NK, you're looking at 1,200, or the proper one to push a vessel like that.
No.
You're looking at 1,200. That's not including the battery, which the cheapest one you could get is a 50 amp from Lead Time, and that's a 50 amp for like $500, like 450 around there, and you're still at only 50 amp hours. You're not at 100 amp hours, and that's just for your motor. That's not including the one in the front, or your GPS unit, or your navigation lights. And it's not to like to crap on it. It's not to do any of that, but it's just like, dang, you mean to tell me I'm looking to get out, I'm looking to be functional on the water, and now in order for me to do that, I got to get A, X, Y, Z, and then I got to register it at that. When if I pick one up that allows me to propel itself, and so when me and Jay said we disagreed, I thought that, you know how back in the day, the reverse cameras and the brake sensor was like a real like high rate option on a vehicle, and now they're like standard.
No,
I think that's what's going to happen. They're just going to be standard, like a pedal drive or a drive system of some sort is going to be standard, just for the sake of self-propulsion and getting out there and being able to be equipped without the benefit of the motor, without having to go through the struggles or the process of going through all that, you know, having to wire it, having to, even though they made it a little easier with their system, it's still a process. And so I think all those things included, and I'm sorry to seem long-winded with it, but I think all those things included are things that need to be really considered when purchasing this vessel. And if you go about getting this vessel, you kind of have to put your ducks in order so that you're not buying things you can't really function with yet, or allow your vessel to grow with you over time, if you will.
Yeah, and I think it's a matter of, answering the question yourself. Do you really need it, right? And what advantage does it give you? So I look at this from the, tournament angler perspective, and I say, well, I'm running a Propel 13.5, right, with an NK, and I can get anywhere I want. Do I need to invest in the XTR 130? And, does it give me any advantages, on in the tournament? I don't really think it does. It can be more comfortable. Remember, most tournament don't even allow two motors, right?
No.
So in reality, you're going to be running one motor, right?
Exactly.
You're only, if you want to use the deck, the front or the bow deck to pitch and punch, mats. Okay, that's great. It gives you, a little bit better visibility if you're side fishing or if you're punching. But is it really something that's a game changer, right? And that's where I go back to the niche, right? It fits a niche of people, that are willing to spend on it and want to use it, but it's really not a game breaker. It's not, it's something that you need to win a tournament. So, it's great that it's out there. I appreciate the fact that Bonafide had the balls, or, I'm sorry, had the desire to, sorry about that, guys. The desire to, put it out and be innovative, right? So I think it's great that we have options like that.
Yeah,
I think it was very innovative, and I think it was something that is going to work for the whole of the industry. I think, like I said, I think it has its place with two people in mind. I could see dads getting this, or somebody getting this who may already have a rig or some sort of rigging, maybe. Let's say somebody already has an NK and somebody already has something already set up. This could be a secondary option for them to enjoy, maybe do some practice or check out something, maybe bring, like I keep mentioning, like a son or a child or a spouse, because that's, in my mind, the most benefit of it, is the fact that you'll be able to bring somebody else out with you like that. But outside of that, due to all the things you have to put onto it, it's really going to be more for, I think, that older crowd. And we had to consider, the guys that we see. I used to do music back in the day, and one of the things that we used to consider was the audience and who are we selling to. And it was very seldom that I would want to, and excuse me for saying it, sell to the minority, because they weren't putting up the money the way other folks were putting up that money. And so I just think that the generation and the older generations, the guys who who have the money to put towards that are your guys who are 35 plus. They have their life together, they have their career together, they have, and they're looking for something to invest in. They're looking for a hobby or something. And I think it fits that market, those older markets of guys who don't want to pedal and don't want to deal with that, but kind of still feel like, they're a part of the mix. Yeah. I think it's for them.
Yeah, and I think I don't want to beat a dead horse. I think it's innovative, but I don't think it's like wildly innovative. Like we've been making big kayaks for a while, and there's a lot of good options for big dudes. So I think one thing the market has done a really good job of is seeing that there's big guys, 250 plus pounds that want to feel comfortable in a kayak, and that's when you get ones like the Old Town, whether it's the PDLs. Yeah. 120, the Autopilot 120, 136, the New Canoe Unlimited, even the Frontier 12 was like specifically made with high weight capacities. So it's not innovative in the sense that it's like the first big guy kayak, but they saw the popularity of that, and then they threw all the features in that you expect. Yeah. Like it could be someone that's transitioning from a boat, but I think it's more so going to be someone upgrading their kayak to this.
Yeah.
And I agree that it's that's the base price point, and you add everything, but every other kayak's like that too. Because the best thing is going to come with is a pedal drive.
That's true, but at least I feel like now you're not forced into the motor immediately. That's my whole aspect of it.
You can take your time and not get a motor right away.
Yeah, you could get your GPS unit and you could get fishing, which was the whole aspect and the whole purpose you wanted to get out there was to get fishing. And so, that's and that's a big part of the reason why, like, for the forward facing sonar, not to say I haven't rushed to get it yet, but I've been doing good figuring out or trying to figure them out without it. And I'm just concerned that if I start looking at that screen a little too much, I'm gonna lose a little bit of that touch, that intuitive nature and all that. But
so Ray Johnson brought up a good thing. He said, I think the Bonafide is more of a kayak than the Blue Sky. Like, not a lot of people think about
I agree.
Boat Works.
And I think that's what it compares to as far as functionality.
Yeah. So that's just a different take of a kayak, but it's still, anyways, it's still a kayak in my opinion.
What was that new kayak that came out as well? It won Best of Show.
So I wanted to make one quick point before we go to that one. So keep in mind the XTR 130 does not have a rudder. And if you wanna do micro pole and NK or Torpedo, you're gonna have to get a one objective mount. It doesn't have the inserts for both, right? You either do one or the other. Oh. So those are two things you gotta keep in mind.
Okay. Yeah, it's good to know. Yeah, I did hear some people complaining about the fact that I didn't have a rudder, which was a little disappointing.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Wow.
Okay. Yeah. So now that Juan brought it up, Wilderness Systems released the Tactical Pro 128, and it won Best in Show. So what were your thoughts of the? I mean, a lot of people don't think about Wilderness Systems right off the bat when you're talking about kayaks. I don't, but this kayak looks pretty dope.
I think it was swept under the rug with the Bonafide thing. I think that Bonafide made such a big fuss and such a big buzz that most didn't realize about the Wilderness Systems thing. But Chris, you were there, you saw it. So
man, with the Wilderness, there's a couple of things I like a lot. My only concern is the plastic. And again, I've never owned a Wilderness kayak, so please take this with a grain of salt. If you look at the bow hatch, it just feels a little bit plasticky, a little bit cheap. I'm not saying it is, but it's just the feel that it gave me, right? And then some other components, if you look at the scupper holes, they have some seam lines. Now, keep in mind, this is a prototype show, right? So this could be their prototype. It doesn't mean that's what's going out to market. So, that could be the reason. But with that being said, they had very cool features where, now they have the trolling motor mount on the side, right? And the mount is included on the kayak. So, a little bit of, cost savings there. It's on the side. That means you can open your hatch. I think that's big.
That. I like that as well. Yep.
Yeah, and then as you move from the bow to the deck, you're gonna see here in the video in a couple of seconds, the storage that they have on the deck is actually very cool because It's two latches, but it's really just one open space, right? So you can get very creative there. I'm telling you, creative to the point where I thought, hey, you know what, you could do a life well right there. It's something like that, and I appreciated that the level of creativity that they had on when they were designing the whole.
And I want to note, look at what they have. They have a 100 amp hour sitting right there, and wait till you see what they have in the back. And I thought, for rigging and functionality, I was looking at this like, because that was why I got the PA. And I love this double. You see that?
I love that. Yeah, that's my favorite feature of the kayak. You could do so many things there.
Love that.
Yeah, that's dope.
And keep in mind, it's an open deck, right? So that means that as you're fishing, you can, if you're on an XI3, you can, GPS and like just anchor there and just walk or use your knees, get to the deck, open it up. You don't even need to have your storage devices below and just share or anything like that. You can have them there. So I definitely like that a lot.
Yeah.
So with the discontinuation of the XI3, though, do you think that's going to cause an issue? Because it looks like they kind of built it around that.
I think so. And this is just me being me. I don't understand the reasoning behind why they discontinued the XI3. Again, kayaks are a niche market. I'm not sure how many people throughout the year buy them. But it leaves a huge void that needs to be filled. Now, who's going to take advantage of that? I think some companies should. You have I think Newport Vessels is doing a great job. They're trying to push products out of the market, so they have an opportunity there. Torpedo has an opportunity there. PowerPole has an opportunity. Obviously, they released that new trolley motor, but maybe we're looking for something cheaper, right? So that's another opportunity. I just want to see who's going to step up and take that void.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of cool things, my buddy Izzy, shout out to Izzy. Woo-hoo. All right, he went and he got that auto boat. You familiar with the auto boat?
Yeah.
And the auto boat, I like it. I like it for what it does, and for you guys who don't know what the auto boat is essentially a module that could attach to any trolling motor. Doesn't matter. And you attach it to your trolling motor that's already mounted to your said vessel, whether it's a John boat or a kayak or what have you. And it comes with a remote, and you turn it into an XI3 essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And it's for, I think, around $500, $500 to $600, like $550 to $600 around there. And it works great. I like it. I don't see why, if you're on a budget, especially, why you should be picking anything else, because most of those motors, I think the XI3, what's the thrust on that?
Good question. I don't know.
I think it's like 38 or 42 maybe, whereas you could buy yourself a 55-pound
55,
thrust.
Yeah.
And save yourself some money right there.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of it. The only thing that when we're spending this money in devices, we want to make sure that the customer service is great, that the warranties are great. They're new, right? So hopefully, in the next couple of years, we're gonna see. Again, they have an opportunity, right? We're looking for which companies have an opportunity to fill a void. If I was the owner of Tiny Boat Nation, which I think is the one that created the Autoboat device, I would be right now creating a lot of content on that and trying to disrupt the market, right? It's an opportunity that presented itself. Why not? But customer confidence is very important. So if you're gonna spend $700,
Chris, what do you think about this point, this gentleman? I don't know. I'm sorry. With that name, I don't know.
Bumpy, bro. Bumpy Santiago.
Bumpy. Is that a male?
I don't know, bro. I just said it with a Spanish accent.
Yeah, okay. What do you think about this comment right here?
So I've seen scenarios. I've seen people getting spit out of their kayak because the motor guy lost GPS signal. I've seen some issues here and there. I don't think it's a big issue. Is it a liability thing? It could turn into a liability thing. But again, it becomes a he said, she said. We don't really have the details behind why they pulled back. if but that's a very good point, right? There could be liability involved there, but this has been in the market for a couple of years now, and nothing has happened that we know of, right? So,
yeah, I mean,
you know,
if it hasn't been a liability on like a small like John boat, why would it be one more so on?
mm-hmm.
I don't understand why it would be more on one than the other. I don't see why.
Yeah.
I mean, I am excited, like Chris said, to see who fills that void, because that's a big hole.
It's gonna be interesting to see what happens. Yeah.
What I like is that we're in an age where people are being innovative. They're bringing new stuff to the market. So again, that opportunity there, in iCast 2025, we could probably see the new thing coming out, and it's going to be amazing, right? Obviously, the big issue is how much is it going to cost. So
that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
So a couple quick comments I wanted to show. Bottom Line Outdoors, he says, and this was in regards to the Bonafide XCR, or XRT. Will trails have to change rules to allow anglers to use these in tournaments? They will, because I mean, if they allow motors, they only allow one. I don't know of any trails that allow two yet.
I don't think it's going to be very hard, because now we're new people joining. These circuits are going to have to spend twice the money on a motor. I don't think that's attractive for new anglers, right? So maybe at some point we will be there. I'm concerned that it happens, and this is my personal opinion, right? I wish it doesn't. Hopefully it doesn't.
It's gonna get I mean, I can see it getting carried away. I mean, look at it now. You go to show up at any tournament. I mean, they're already allowing motors, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
I have an autopilot, but like, people already feel at a disadvantage without live scope or forward facing sonar. So I mean, if you're talking about someone that wants to get in for recreation, that's fine. But yeah, to get into like, you want to actually make money in tournaments now, like, you do have to compete with people that have $15,000 setups, and a lot of that's just on electronics.
Yeah,
and I think that's gonna end up hurting these tournament trails. And I could be wrong, but again, do we really have a need to have two motors, right? How much? You look at people that organize these tournaments; they do a very good job. They sit down at the beginning of the year and say, hey, obviously 90% of our or 80% of our people use motors. This is the water we expect to cover, so we're just gonna put some limitations on where these kayaks can go. Right, yeah, that's one thing that they do. And then the other is they choose lakes that allow for people with or without motors to actually fish, right, where both of them have the equal opportunity to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm. And Ray Johnson brought up a good point. There's my bad one, I just want to bring this up real quick. There's a trail out here. It's called the Back to Basics Tournament Trail, and I think we're seeing more of that. So this trail in particular was started kind of as a spin-off to one of our local Slay Nation trails, and they only allow 2 rods, no motors, no electronics. Cool. I mean, so
I think 1 tackle box.
I don't know about the tackle box.
Oh, okay.
But it's like, I've been seeing more of that, and I think it's funny, because it's almost like the more we progress, then people like start going back and doing stuff like that. But that's going to be more advantageous for people getting in, more attractive to them, because they're not going to have to feel at a huge disadvantage. I mean, learning fishing on its own is a huge undertaking when you're coming in as a beginner.
Yeah, I think it could be very overwhelming when you're coming in and you've never really fished before at all, and you're trying to do it from a kayak, and you're trying to sort out lures and tackle, and depending on how detailed you get with it, I mean, it could all start getting real confusing from the lines to, am I using braided line or a leader?
I mean, there's a million different things to learn.
All the different,
bro. Take the kayak aspect out of it. There's a ton to learn.
Yeah, just fishing alone itself is, and then to be able to do it from a kayak and be able to position yourself and find a point so you can cast the way you need to cast, all that different stuff. And it all comes with time.
Yeah. And Cooler Lid made a point too. He's disappointed that Old Town didn't bring back any new upgrades to the first gen autopilot. And I don't think Old Town was there, but we knew that coming in. Yeah, so we knew that they weren't going to be there, but I feel that sentiment too as a autopilot owner. It's, I feel like they're overdue for some serious innovation in their in their lineup.
Can we go back real quick to, as you talk, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but so we don't get so far away from that last kayak we were looking at, because I thought one of the pretty important aspects of that kayak was that rear.
That one is outfitted to, you can actually use two micro poles, and you can have your NK.
Not only that, the battery bay back there.
Yeah, the battery bay is cool. One thing about for the NK, it actually has a plate on the inside of the hull. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's cool.
Two 100 amp hour batteries fit back there, so that has a space for 3 100 amp hour batteries.
That's wild.
Inside your hull. That's not inside of a Yak Attack crate. That's not inside of. You don't have to sacrifice your front hatch.
Any space.
You don't have to sacrifice any space. It's all you right there with it. You feel me? So I like that with this kayak right here, especially for the guys who are looking to motor up. And I don't know that does this have a self-propelled option? Was there a self-propelled option on this? No, right? No. So I mean, it looks more kayakable or paddleable than the Bonafide, at least, and I think this definitely fits more of a kayak situation. But yeah, I liked this a lot for those last two features. We didn't.
A couple of things. So he mentioned that the boat was pre-rigged when it comes to wiring. I want to understand what that is. When I recorded that video, it was the end of the show. He barely could speak, right? These people are, get tired throughout the show. So out of respect, I didn't, question him too much. So I see that coming from Michael. It's pre-wired, right? So he mentioned that. So it's pre-wired for power. I appreciate that a lot. And then the other thing is, it has a support plate on inside the hull for the new port. So that, again, very well thought vessel. My only concern is, it was a prototype probably, but the plastic in some areas felt a little bit plasticky.
Yeah. Very thin.
I'm sorry.
Was it too thin?
No, it was just the finish on the storage in the bow. You could see some marks on it. Like plastic mold marks. On the scuppers, you could also you could see some lines in there, and then how you steer your pedal steer. That one felt a little bit cheap, right? Everything, it was plastic, so that's one area of concern, because sometimes people put a lot of pressure on them. So that again, you could probably upgrade them, but that's something I did see. Other than that, I loved it. The idea behind it was great.
Good too.
What
probably like $2,100 for that.
Yep.
Yeah, 21.
I like that price too. As far as Hobie, I'm not sure if they came out with this at the tail end of last year or if this was a new addition for this year, but they did release the XR drive.
Yeah, so that was last year.
Yeah, that was last year. So that, I mean, outside of that, because we had that one comment there, the XR drive. What does the XR drive do again? I think it's just like a more instant reverse.
Yeah. It's reinforced bushings. What they did is they redesigned, some of the internals that were giving them problems prior. So they actually had the boat on the water demo day. So AJ and the team with Hobie, the booth was Hobie glassware or Hobie sunglasses, but they actually had a boat on the demo day, and I do have a video on that. That was, it felt, I put a lot of pressure on that rudder. Not that rudder, that pedal drive. He told me that I could. So, I did Insta 360, I did Insta 180, and I didn't feel like it was going to break, right? That was just one-time use, but they did that. And then the other thing that they did is, you've seen the stories, the cracks on the seat, in the edge of the seat. And so they put a plate to reinforce the seats. And added more foam, so you shouldn't expect to have any issues in the future. So they're addressing a couple of the main issues that people are voicing. I think, and again, this is a trade show, this is a prototype show. Not every year, you don't have to be there every year. But I think, considering the negative conversations that people are having now with Hobie, I would have thought it was a good opportunity to be there and showcase, the redesign of the pedal drive and on the kayak itself. But it's their decision. There's always a financial implication of being on a show. You're there to get dealers, right, to sell your boat. most dealers are already selling your boat. So, now it becomes a perception thing where, do we want to be there so people know that we're doing good, or just, push back on that and not spend that money. It's very expensive, right? Taking the kayaks, the booth, the people, you're paying hotels, meals, insurance, all of that. It just becomes very, very expensive.
It's true.
Yeah,
it's true.
Cool.
And I think that depending on, this is a place where a lot of companies come to pull their cards out, right, and kind of expose themselves in a way.
If they have cards to pull, that's the thing. Like,
if
they don't have nothing to drop, it's like
for
Chris
sure,
said,
for sure,
kind of a waste.
But if you're a bigger company and you have the developmental finances to do things in a quicker way, it would be, be beneficial for you to kind of see what everybody else is coming out with first. So, who's to say, we have the rest of the year yet. And none of these companies are obliged to be stuck to this, iCast scenario, So who's to say? But it would be nice to see some other things for sure. I would like to see, as an original Autopilot fan, I would like to see them do a little bit of an upgrade, some internal storage, and just,
there's a lot of room for improvement there, bro.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's a solid kayak. I mean, that's why I'm not going to complain. I'll take an Autopilot over a lot of different things because it's solid, but there's a lot of features that are lackluster, but you're also talking about a 2020 body and hull. So it hasn't been redesigned since a lot of these other kayaks came out.
Well, who knows? It could be another opportunity for. So again, there's a void to fill, right? With GPS motors, the Autopilot has it. It's built in. Maybe this is a time to go back and prototype and see. And build out of again, you could feel that niche. Yeah. There's money R&D involved, so I don't know if that's gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, well, Minn Kota, I mean, that's a great idea. Minn Kota fill that.
Yeah,
I think they have a special space. I think that's a special and unique relationship that we may not potentially see again within the kayak industry. With such cohesive, with that cohesiveness and that partnership there. Because Minn Kota makes a great product, and so does Old Town, and they're very reliable. I mean, how many old Minn Kota motors are running around on the back of John boats and everywhere else, right? Foot controlled, all that stuff. So they have that on lock, and to incorporate that Autopilot with that kayak like that, it'll be nice to see. That's a great opportunity for another potential company too, to really try to create a relationship. But who's to say how hard that stuff is?
Yeah. Let me pull up. I'm gonna cut you off, bro. I just want to.
I was done. It was perfect time.
I want to pull up this the Newport NS 130 inflatable kayak.
That was fun.
Yeah, how'd you? First of all, how'd you feel about that? And
so,
how was it on there?
I talked to Howie. I'm part of the Newport ambassador team, so we had a conversation, and I talked to him about it doesn't fit what I do, but I would buy it, and the reason is, again, we're dads. We sometimes we hang out with the family. Dude, it was like 7, almost 8 miles per hour on that thing. That's the NT300. Man, I don't know it. So a couple of things I did, I went through the water there sometimes gets choppy because you have so many kayaks going in and out. And, I tried to move through the chop and it felt fine. I stood up as fast as I could and it felt fine. The design felt rugged. The material felt fine. So, it was a very, very fun experience for sure.
Yeah. Do you think I've heard more and more chatter about these inflatable kayaks? Do you think that's a growing niche, or what space is it filling? You think when it comes to kayak anglers?
I think it fits the niche of some of people that know how to use it. And I'll tell you my story. I do have an inflatable paddle that I used to take with me out in the water in Pine Island Sound at Matlacha. And I had I once hooked a snook, and when he fell in the paddle, I guess he's either the hook or him, he punched through, right? So I had to paddle back very quickly and made it, but it was a disaster. So, I think, my experience is the same thought that a lot of people have is, what if I'm fishing and I puncture it and I'm 3 or 4 miles from the, I think it's more of a recreational vessel that where you can take your family. I'll give you, an example. So, I could drop in a ramp, go to a small key that we have here. It's probably like 2 miles on the NT 300. Leave my wife and my daughter, go get some fish, and then come back, or just hang out with them and not fish, right? So it's versatile enough to where I would love to have it, but it fits a particular niche. I don't think we'll ever see that, as a in the kayak conversation, or in that world. But very fun, very fast, very stable. Yeah, I would buy it.
It's faster than most because it has less drag because it sits on the water.
Yeah.
The water, right.
Yeah, it's lightweight, so you can carry it if you want without the share. I don't think you could carry it with a share, but it's tougher. But I loved it. It was a great experience.
What's the price point on that?
That one I don't know. I'm gonna have to let me see if I can find that right here. I have some notes here.
Yeah, because we have a buddy, boy Hector. He keeps talking about getting these inflatable kayaks.
And I was gonna ask you, what's that one he be talking about?
And I think it's called the NRS Starlight or something.
That one's very good. I think Alex has done some coverage on that one.
Okay.
They had it 2 years ago on iCast, and it was very rugged. That's a very, very good inflatable.
Yeah, and I know it's more popular with river fishermen than lake guys. So I could see where you might want that. I'm not really like a river rat.
I wouldn't use that in Florida. Gators will just destroy.
Oh my god, yeah.
I think what blows my mind about it though is like the dynamic between how the inflatable seems like not safe, but how that NRS is kind of made more for rivers, where I feel like you don't have as much control and there's more rocks and possibilities for you to just kind of like run into something. Then I also think like, when you look at like the U.S. Coast Guard, or when you look at certain kind of like rescue dinghies, military style dinghies, they have a solid middle and they have that airbag tubing around that outside. And it's like, they be like, they do that. They do that they mean business with that. So it's just like, that has to be good to some effect, to some degree, has to be beneficial. Even when I see the whitewater rafting, like those like 12 or 15 people, they're in a raft that's like, they're strapped in,
it has a space.
Has those airs. So it's just like, it works. And I think it needs to keep them up if something happens, if they flip. But nonetheless, I think that, we think of balloons and we think about how easily those things pop, and we think that applies, but I think it needs to be reconsidered. And I think that if they're designed right, it could work out for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I won't see myself on one, but I could see like why people would. I mean, we're already on plastic boats. Why push it any further and make them inflatable?
Yeah. From a recreational perspective, loved it. For fishing, I wouldn't use it.
I see it beneficial for people who lack the space to store a vessel.
Yeah.
I don't know how much I'd fish from one just because I'm careless with my hook, so I mess around and pop it back. So, but yeah.
So what motor did that have on it? The NT 300.
NT 300, yeah.
Okay. So Newport also dropped the NT 600, right, at this event.
Ooh.
And that's, correct me if I'm wrong, 48 volt motor.
Yeah, 48 volt. Yeah.
Is that the only 48 volt that's out there right now? Because that's
I think so.
Pretty insane.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you something. So, like, does Newport have batteries for this already, or what?
So that's a good question. I'm not sure. They released the low pro battery. I'm not sure if that one has the 48 volt capability.
Yeah, and that's something I want to talk about too, because those low pro batteries are fire, bro.
Like
so
a flat rate.
Yeah, they're like it almost looks like a toolbox, like you know what I mean, like the box that like a little saw comes in or something like that.
I've seen other ones that are a little bit more expensive, but they look like Plano boxes.
Yeah.
But they're ridiculously expensive. You're talking
Yeah,
about
I don't know what the price point on these are.
Yeah, me neither.
And I don't know that they're marine grade either. So
they're marine grade. These ones are marine grade.
Oh, those.
Yeah. So this is the NT600. So that's the 48 volt.
That's the 600 right there.
Yeah.
That's
so
huge.
when I was doing my research, and I think I saw in a couple posts that Newport is saying it can get up to 10 miles an hour on certain kayaks. That's crazy, bro. I feel like most kayaks probably couldn't even handle that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think that's great though for the majority, you know, especially here in our particular region, we have a lot of electric or trolling motor only lakes. So I think that works. Oh, look at those are the batteries right there.
Yeah. One quick note. When I was on the water demo day, a guy from I think was it Howie. I think Howie brought the battery to the Jack Attack tent. And they placed it on a 16 by 16 short stack, and it fits perfectly. It's like it was meant to be. It's not, but it was like it literally meant to be. It was great.
So that's one. Is that one 48 volt battery right there?
Yeah, for the NT 600.
Yeah.
No,
the battery is not 48 volt.
The battery, yeah. I'm not sure if they have a 48 volt for the low pro yet.
But is that the battery for the 600 right there?
No.
That's just the redesign, or they're just releasing a new battery.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but it is dope. What Chris was saying, I forgot who posted it or where I saw it at, but it fit right inside the top hatch of the Blackpack Pro. So that short stack that people were getting on top of that, this fit perfectly in there.
Yeah.
Like, almost like it was made for it. Yeah.
Wow.
And it was just by chance. Like how we said, we didn't design this with that in mind, but you know, that's awesome.
Wow. No. With ability to plug in and everything.
Well, yeah, you're gonna have to, you know, you're still gonna have to modify the short stack if you want.
Yeah,
but it could also go under your chair. A lot of these chairs have, you know, are wide enough where you could place that battery, and you don't have to worry about, you know, making holes on your Blackpack.
I think too, like Jay, like even like, well, it wouldn't go on his, but I know in his pedal drive, that internal space, like depending on what you have, you could slip one inside your hole too.
Oh yeah, the Old Town.
Yeah, you could. Yeah,
definitely.
You could fit a ton in there, bro.
Definitely, depending on what you're putting that on. I like the size of the battery a lot.
I appreciate the fact that they're doing it right. The more options we have, the cooler things we could do in the future, right? So, you know, I believe, you know, it's a smaller profile battery. Great. Now we have more space on our vessel, or less issues with space.
What's the price point on that battery?
I don't have the price point with me. I'm sorry about that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I love it though. I mean, about time. You think someone can't redesign a battery, and then Newport comes through and does some cool with it.
Yeah, we just need them flat.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, Bucktail Fishing says something. He said, some electric only lakes have had a slow/no wake speed rule now added since some of these high power E motors have come out. Because I mean, technically, you can have a 3-4 horsepower electric.
Yeah,
and you know, and that can disturb those little lakes or whatever, and people are out there on paddle boards.
Yeah, one thing that the Low Pro has is I'm reading it here this is from Kayak Angler Mag. It has Bluetooth connectivity. So you can monitor your battery life, which is very cool. I have one that I use on my NK106, and I love it. I love to be in control and know, you know, what my battery life is.
Yeah. Heck yeah, bro. Yeah, that's what I started.
Oh, you know, I'm sorry to interrupt. It says that, you know, it's priced in the same range as a traditional lithium battery with greater durability. So, you know, we should expect somewhere around the $500-$600 range, maybe a little bit more. Depends on you know, the voltage you're getting.
Yeah. For sure. Hopefully it's not the lithium range, because those are expensive.
Yeah. I'm hoping maybe no more than 900.
No,
I ain't paying 900 for a battery, bro. Not anymore. You don't have to.
You know, I don't use $900 batteries either.
Yeah.
And I've done very well with them. You know, 200.
And there's still people that buy them. I mean, yeah, shout out to Dakota, but like, you don't have to.
Well, you pay for you know, customer service. You pay for warranty. You pay for other things.
10-year warranty. I think they have a 10-year warranty.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess you just have to weigh out how much of a trade-off that is. Like, are you gonna use the warranty? Most people don't on those lithium batteries. Obviously, not just because we're sponsored on the show right now by Lead Time, but lead time batteries, you're talking about a third of the price for the same 100 amp hour battery.
Yeah.
Instead of $900, it's $300, and
Yeah.
they have a limited warranty. I think it's 2 or 3 years, but beyond that, I mean, how often are you going to use it?
That's true.
So, one thing I did see too that I thought was pretty cool was see if I can pop it up here real quick. So this is like, it was kind of under the radar. I only saw, I think Chad posted like a long video about it, but the Yak Attack crossbar. And Chris, you did it too. You posted it on your stories.
Yeah, my video will release tomorrow on it. It's going to be the full showcase from Yak Attack. First, kudos to them. I think they're the ones that they brought at least 10 or 12 items that were new to the show, right?
Wow.
So they killed it. They did it like John, was he very knowledgeable. He went through, all the things they released in the show. Obviously, the command center, which is your crossbar for your electronic, is the one that really has everybody chatting here and there. It's very capable. It's not limiting you to only a track crossbar. Now you can mount anything anywhere, right?
Yeah.
So you have mount. Yeah, you can mount anything you want anywhere. That's how they're showcasing the product and marketing it. It's a very, very cool product.
I love Yak Attack, man. I ain't gonna hold you. As far as like accessories go, the durability of their products, even the price point of their products, I think is very reasonable.
It's in line. It's in line with what you expect. Like, they're not out there.
I think so.
But I think it's cool. I do like that they bring an innovative feature to it. So last year when they announced or showed the leaderboard at iCast, like my first reaction was like, Ketch has a great measuring board. Like, why? Like, how can you reinvent that or innovate on it's a ruler, But they dropped it, and of course, it has some cool stuff. I mean, it has where the little tags that flip out, so you can have multiple tags on there real easy. I like the reflective the fence on the leaderboard, because that way you don't have that issue where you can't tell if the fish is touching it.
Yeah.
Like they come out with little innovative touches. Like when they drop the product, they don't just drop a product to copy someone else.
Yeah, people were talking about the glare and the numbering. That those are the two areas that I think need a little bit observing. We had a conversation there, and one of the people that fished with me on the FKBT trails mentioned that they are working on the numbering. Right, I think they're going to make it darker, so that's awesome. So it's going to be easier to read the pictures, and then from the glare, I've seen a lot of pictures already with it, and I think if I'm a tournament director, I'm okay with it. It's not that big of a deal. I thought initially the glare was going to be on the area or the mirror area. That's where it's concerning, right? If you're getting glare there, you're never going to figure out whether that bass is, touching it or not. And I haven't seen a single picture where that issue is, so I'm okay with it. I like it. They actually are gonna. They had a brown leaderboard there. And it looked cool, so they're gonna release different colors. So that can also play out on the glare. Different colors will help you. It's just gonna look different, the contrast on the picture.
Yeah.
But they came out with a lot of stuff. So we've been asking for phone holders for quite a while.
Yeah.
I spoke to John last year, and he said not yet, but in development, and luckily it made it. This one is cool, and you'll see it tomorrow on the video. You can actually adjust it to fit your particular phone, which is awesome, and it feels that it's sturdy enough for your phone to not fall. I like that. Yeah, they did some dry bags. They went crazy. They have a beach card that looked like a transformer. I thought it was going to pop into Optimus Prime at some point. It is crazy.
I saw that beach part. I wish I would have saw more of it. Look, I mean, it's not something as a kayaker you're going to use with if you're shore fishing, right? Like it's something that allows you to bring all your stuff with you.
No, it's full. It has a lot of the same bar on the command center.
Mm-hmm.
So you can actually, tether anything there, get your quick mounts. It's
I see that being very beneficial for like the board, like the ocean fishers. Guys that all right. So Jay, I've never taken you there, but like when we go to South Carolina, there's a pier out there, and when you go out on the pier, essentially these guys have nothing but carts. And these carts are like homemade carts that they kind of like rig up or whatever, so that they could carry their fish or tackle, a little cooler, whatever, or whatnot, so they could be more efficient, while they're out fishing off of these long pier points or whatever. And so yeah, that'll be
same
perfect.
idea.
Yeah, it'll be perfect. And I ain't gonna hold you, like when I go to South Carolina to visit my mom around sometimes with LJ, when I go around and I want to have options, and I don't want to have a little bag with me or something off to the whatever. I have a little it's like a little cart. It like accordions out, and I just fill it with stuff. That would replace that, and it'll be more sturdy, more efficient. It'll give me a place to mount a camera, because I have no place to mount a camera from that. So it acts as a stand as well. I can see.
That's pretty dope.
With I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I think there's a question here in the chat by X9 Adventures. He's looking to buy a kayak, and he wants our opinion, right? He's 5'9", 240 pounds. What's the feedback there, guys?
So I mean, my first question is always like, it depends what you're looking to do.
Yeah. Are you going to motorize it or not, right?
And where are you fishing? You fishing rivers? You fishing lakes? You fishing offshore?
And he fishes in Florida. I know that for a fact.
And then budget. What's your budget looking like? That would be probably the last thing, because your budget really is going to help you understand what's available to you, and then you can go from there as far as finding options within that price point.
Yeah, I think I would tell him, look at brands, right? Look at Old Town for their whole warranty. They have a wide range of options. Look at New Canoe. They're a very good company. They're they're great customer service. Look at Bonafide. Look at Native. These 4 companies, and then look at Hobie, right? These 5 companies are very important in the industry, and they have anything.
They're reputable.
And it's a matter of fitting what you need. Are you looking for pedal drive, or you're looking for motors, etc.?
Yeah. I think it was last time we had Chad on. He brought up a good point. It's like, if you're planning on motorizing something, just buy the cheap paddle kayak. So like if you're looking at Old Town, don't bother buying the PDL if you're going to motorize it. Just go ahead and buy the paddle version, and it's going to save you $1,500 off the price point.
Yeah, just buy a PWR 129. That thing's a beast. That's my opinion. Cool. I love that. I did test it out on Tuesday, and I think that's my next purchase.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's wide enough for me. I have a 13.5, so it's a very wide deck, but it's wide enough for me. It's super stable, and it has everything I need.
What's the price point on that Power 129?
Like $1,900. So I think it's $1,899. Yeah.
I think X9. I think that's a very good option for you, man. That Power 129. I saw Fluke Master had a nice ad on it. I'm sure if you follow kayak fishing on Facebook, the ads come up where he's like backing in and he's doing some fishing on it. And it looks great as far as the functionality. They showed it off with an NK and a motor guide on the front. So and I think at that price point, you're pretty capable of getting a motor on there or a GPS unit and still being pretty functionable. So yeah, I think that
it's a good paddle boat. You can also paddle it well.
Yeah, paddle it as well.
In Florida, he fishes Florida, so again, a lot of grass, hydrilla here and there. So you need to have some paddle power. Yeah, it's needed here.
Yeah, Michael S said, check out Bearded Paddler. I love that's my boy Andy. He's before. He's got a lot of really, really good reviews.
Yeah, very knowledgeable. I think I like it because he's not biased. So he'll give you, and then obviously he's a dealer, so he knows what goes on, behind the curtain.
Yeah,
I like him a lot.
Sure. Yeah. And he won't shy away from telling the truth about what's up with any particular kayak. And he'll be really upfront about that. So I think, Andy's the man. Go check out the Bearded Paddler for reviews for sure.
Yeah, for sure, man. Did you see anybody that you were surprised to see over there? Who's your favorite people you saw at the iCast?
Alex, man. He's the guy. He's the guy. It's funny because for the last 3 years I've seen Alex. We've always had some conversations here and there. We know each other. this year I saw him every day at least 3 or 4 times. So that tells me that he moves around, right? He's moving around, getting content here and there. So I think that's the personality or the YouTube personality that I saw the most for sure, without any intention. I just kept, running into him.
Yeah, that's funny. He was on our show last.
Now, is there anybody?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, last show. Yeah, last show.
Yeah.
Is there anybody because now it's your third time there, so you probably you're not probably so starstruck as far as all right, me, so I'm an angler all over. So I keep up with the Bassmaster series, the MLFs and all that stuff. So I keep up with the pros outside of the kayak circuit as well. So is there anybody that you saw that you ran into that you don't normally run into, or that you were ooh about, or is it kind of whatever now that it's your third year?
So I've run into almost every pro in the scene but KVD, and this was my first year running.
Really?
Yeah, KVD is quite different because he's always on particular booths, and since I work the show, I don't always have the opportunity to go and meet him. But I saw him, and he's cool. He's a very humble person. That's my favorite angler.
I saw him at Susquehanna Fish and Tackle. They had a great event, and they brought him out there, and it was a free event at that, which was wild. That they hosted this free event, and the whole day they had all these different professionals come and give tutorials and seminars. Thank you, Jay. And so I was waiting in line to meet him, and as I'm waiting in line to meet him, there was this young man, probably no older than 13, and he was just so overwhelmed at the opportunity to meet him that he was crying, and he's crying a lot. And he wasn't up in line just yet, but he was next. And as KVD was getting the first guy in front of him out the way, you could see his concern. And when I say if he had to stop and just, but he made sure that kid was good.
Mm-hmm.
He stopped.
Oh, he's a great human being.
Was there? He was worried. He was like, "You sure you are? You good? Do you want another picture? Whatever you need. Do you need another autograph?" And he was just so emotional about it, but he was so cool, and he gave all his attention right then and there. And he was so professional, man. It was so amazing to see him do his thing. And if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't fish a jerk bait as much, and I wouldn't power fish as much as I fish. Mm-hmm. And a lot of my techniques and a lot of things I learned, I ain't gonna hold you. It's from watching a lot of the stuff of what he does. So, such a cool dude, man.
Oh yeah,
makes it why he's on top. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. There's who did I see that was there? I just came on some recently. Hoodfish Entertainment.
Oh yeah,
I did see he was there. Thank God he's doing well too.
Everybody went crazy. It was that I think it was on Thursday he was there.
Okay.
And I didn't see him, but everybody was talking about him.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, he's got a lot. His energy is so contagious, and he's just so genuine. And oh man,
yeah. And on top of that, this was his first public appearance since his situation he had. So so I mean, I'm glad to see that he's out. But yeah, I did see some people take some pictures with him. Mm-hmm. I don't know if Yara took some pictures with him.
Yara. Yeah, and then I don't know if you know the guy with the long hair that he does the hair thing on iCast, who has the best hair.
Okay.
So he actually saw him, and they all both went and they started playing with their hair. So he's super chill. He'll have fun with you, man. He's very cool.
That's cool.
He was showing off because he loves gold. Florida boys. I don't know if nobody knows down south, the gold is a real serious thing, especially the grills. And he got the grills on, and he was showing off this gold Shimano. Oh, it was dope. It was a solid gold Shimano.
That's cool. Yeah, I saw that on the showcase. Yeah.
Yeah, he just got a lot of good energy, man. Every time I see him flipping through my phone, I always stop and try to show some love.
Yeah. That's cool. Anything that you saw there, Chris, that didn't really get the attention you think it deserved? Or
I think
the radar.
Yeah, I think Nokwa, they have their Spectrum P2, which is their light system. It's green, red, or white lighting. It retails for $249. Well designed, very sturdy. I met the owners personally, and Will, who's their marketing guy. They're a very good set of people. They're very humble. You know, they operate. They're ship tight. Very like good customer service. So that's something I want to give an opportunity to. I definitely gonna grab one of those because I need a good set of lights. Um, and I think the other one that I like was have you heard about Connect East?
What is it?
So they're called Connect Ease, and they had a item
Oh,
called
I
Jag
did
Ease. Yeah.
actually. You know, it's funny you said that because I pulled up the list of the things that were
Hmm.
for, and that's when I saw that it's the module box.
Yeah.
It comes kind of pre-rigged already for you to plug and play. A lot of different options. Go ahead, go in detail. I don't want to.
Yeah, so it's basically that. So it's a module box. The boxes that we've been doing for quite a couple of years.
Yeah.
But it's catered for. It runs the battery. It runs the electronics. It runs the phones, the GoPros, etc. So it was a very well designed. It's pricey. I think it's somewhere around the 699 or 599
Okay.
MSRP range.
Yeah.
But regardless, it looks very clean, very well designed. So I think that was quite different. You don't see that.
Yeah.
I've never seen something like that on a show.
I
On
thought that was
on
good too.
iCast. Yeah.
And I like Nakua because they actually they made a product that I was really interested in when I got my Hobie at first. And they make a rear hatch insert so that you could fit 2 batteries, and then the batteries that they make are these super small, like
Yeah.
these
Do I
small.
have one with me? I don't.
You got that 50 amp hour battery? It's like $750 for one of them.
No, I have a 10. That's what I used to run my
Oh, okay,
my
you know which one
190
I'm talking about,
previously.
the 50 amp
Yeah,
hour.
yeah. Hmm.
And I wanted to get the 250 amp hour and put them back there because of the. I mean, how else would you get 250 amps in the back of that area? And it was just great. But anyway, yeah, 750 a piece, and I don't even know if they make them anymore.
Yeah, I think they're coming out with a splice set, so now you could do for the GoPros, right? They have a new adapter, a USB-C adapter, so you're gonna be able to use your
Okay.
Nokia 10 amp or 20 amp for that. The other one that I've used, and I have that one I have here. I'm gonna be testing this one out. So they have like the smaller 10 amp, 10 and AH, the cheap batteries. That's what I use to power my GoPro. It powers it for like 6 hours. So I'm gonna be testing this one out, here in a couple of weeks.
Is that
Uh,
it? Is it in a bag or
yeah,
is it in
no,
a
it's
carrying case?
it's really
It's a
waterproof
little
battery.
circle. It
Yeah,
looks
it's just a little circle here,
Well, that's cool.
very small. It has its ports here. It's
And that's you said 8 amp hour?
10.
that's 10.
Okay.
So it's a small and it's waterproof, already waterproof. So
You could just hang that on the back of your chair, plug your GoPro in.
yeah,
And
it brings the carabiner, so it's ready. And then if you want to
that's
buy the
great.
pouch, you buy the pouch. So I just want to test it out and see for how long will it power my GoPro. This might be what I use, in the future.
I like that a lot. Yeah,
Yeah,
because right now I actually just purchased another. I use like a portable. Um, anyway, I use a portable style one. It folds open. It has like solar or whatever if I need to or whatnot. It has a little flashlight, but that one works. But yeah, I've been looking for a better option.
Yeah.
But I will admit, I think it was a GoPro I had. That GoPro 10 is horrible for.
Oh yeah.
But I just upgraded. I liked the 9. The 9 was my
I
favorite.
use my nines. I have a couple of 10s. I don't use them anymore. I use 9
Wow.
all the way.
Man, I loved my
Yeah.
9, and I left it on the back of my truck, and I drove off, and it fell.
Ah.
I was fishing somewhere,
Wow.
and so I recently got the 12, and the 12 is great. I have no issues with that. But I believe it or not, I want to buy a 9 again. I just haven't found one. Not a new one anyway.
Yeah.
Let me see. What other thing? There were a lot of battery companies. There were C Pro, Lee was there. Pro Guide was there. Lake Cuddle Lithium was there. The bigger ones were there. So there were like 6 or 7 battery booths.
Wow.
That was impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. I know Lead Time was one of their platinum sponsors maybe for the show.
Wow.
So they had a big booth. Yo, Alex said you guys don't sleep. We're just talking about you, bro.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so
I missed you last week on the last episode, Elias. I would have liked to meet you.
Well, we'll get him back on, bro. He's a trip. And then Steady Stick came through. He said that's a 10.
Oh, 10, that's So Steady, that he knows. Trust me, he's the guy. So that's a good call out there.
MAH is milliamp hour, right?
Milliamp hour, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. I just got one. So the one I have is that right now is 10,000, but the one that I have on the way is 24,000. I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 24,000.
Yeah, he said
that one ran me like $80.
It's not 10 amp hours. It's 10,000.
Yeah. So correction there. He's the guy though. He knows. He works.
So how much was that one? That Nakwa?
I don't know. I don't have that MSRP.
Your little the one you got right there.
Yeah, I don't know. No, that was given to me. So I don't know the. Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
That thing looks dope though. The size and everything.
I like the size of it.
Yeah, I like it. Now again, I was more impressed the Lightning. That Spectrum P2. I liked it, and it's the fact it's not even the light. It's the fact that it was well designed, right? So it's meant to be installed next to your to your hull, right? So it doesn't. It's not something that you're gonna have in the deck. You could do that if you want, but it's designed to be outside, right? So it's not gonna bother you. It's very bright also, so I like that. That was cool.
Yeah.
I just sent. Now I'm sorry because I didn't pre-do this. Jay, I sent you a link. The link has the winners of all the different categories for iCast. And one of the conversations or one of the questions that I know a lot of the guys in the group ask is about shoes or what kind of shoes to wear while you're out kayaking and things like that. And I know something that I've always wanted to buy were the Huck shoes. But I've seen that they have brought out by Under Armour. It's called the Charged Shoreman Deck Boot. Did you see that up there, Alex? Chris? The shoe? Did you see them Under Armour up there?
I did see them from afar. I did not. I already have a set of boots that I like. They're way cheaper, so I don't go that route. It just becomes they're expensive for me. So for what I do, I've been actually fishing barefoot nowadays.
Yeah, me too. I take my Crocs off and call it quits. But yeah, there they are right there. Yep.
Yeah, I saw.
They look awesome.
Pond Boys did something with them.
What was that?
Pond Boys.
Pond Boys.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he'd be someone that I'd want to see down there too. He's a cool dude.
Yeah,
seems like a cool dude. Never met him, but yeah. So yeah, man, lots of cool stuff.
No, I think
go down. Right there is the
this right here.
Yeah, they did win a.
Click on that. See if that opens up something. So that is the unit that Chris was just talking about. That Yak Ease, where you could kind of like plug and play all your stuff. Has everything you need right there. So if you're like a little weary about getting your kayak set up and you're not really sure how to wire it up, you ain't even got a trip. As long as you can fit a battery in there, you're good to go. Put your battery in there, hook it up, and then hook everything else up and plug it.
Gotcha. So it's like a portable like Yak Power.
Yeah,
I use Yak Power, but that's it's more of a semi-permanent solution because you're drilling holes.
Mm-hmm.
You can move this from kayak to kayak or kayak to John.
Yep.
Okay.
And then I think the other like New Canoe had a very good showing. Even though it wasn't a new boat, a lot of people talked about it. So they had the U10 there, the U10 and the U12, right?
Okay.
So people were talking a lot about it. Beautiful kayak.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't wait to
That's
go.
Cool. I want to see that U10. I think having a 10, well, it's almost 11 foot, but having like a small option like that with such a high weight capacity is interesting. So I mean, if you don't have the storage for a 12, 13, 14 foot boat.
Speaking of, let me see. I know I sent this. I'm going to send you another link right now. Remember a couple of weeks ago, I had sent you that information on that new Lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if I'm gonna send it over to you
Cooler Lid ass. He said, "You telling me the Hero 9 is the better GoPro?" That sounds like it's the consensus.
I man, I'm
I
telling
think
you,
it's the best one, man. To be honest with you, the GoPro 9 is where it's at. They had all the functionality. You're able to pick all of your frame rates and your resolution and all that stuff pretty
you can't do that on the
efficiently.
newer ones because I only have the 9.
Yeah, you can, but I think the
On the
9 is
12,
just
they limited it a little bit.
you don't have to downgrade your firmware to go like run a lot battery. It just it's native, right? You could just plug in a power bank and it will run. The limitation on the 9 is the color, right? So the color spectrum you have on the 10 and 11, I think it's better, significantly better, right? So you could either shoot raw and then color grade. I personally don't have time for that. But if you look at
Mhm.
most of my content when I'm on the kayak, it's on a GoPro 9, and I think it's good enough, right? Um, so if you're more into better coloring and you want to show some better footage, the 10, 11, 12 are going to be better, but you run into some issues when it comes to power battery banks and some other heating
Yeah,
issues that you have,
especially
right?
the 10 and the 11. I feel like the 10 the worst. I think they try to fix some of them with the 11, and I hear the 12 is where they really solved a lot of the overheating and all that stuff.
Hmm.
But between we're talking like the last one before the 12 that was good. It's the 9. It's the 9.
Hmm.
So if you're out there, you're looking to get a GoPro, definitely get on the marketplace. Look for some GoPro 9s in your area. Make sure they're in good working condition and have at it, man. Get yourself a little power bank and just plug it up. Get yourself.
Yeah.
They have 256 megabyte. Those 256
SD cards.
SD cards. Yeah, they're
Micro
pretty
SD.
cheap. Yeah, and they pretty cheap
Hmm.
nowadays, and they're like up to 8 hours of filming time. So
Mm. Yeah,
yeah,
no, that overheating thing was always an issue for me anyway. So
Yep.
I only shoot like you, Chris. Almost all my footage is on my GoPro. Somewhat recently, I changed over to Sony 6400, and that's just for some of my talking head stuff that I shoot in my house. But yeah, I mean the GoPro is good. Like I hate to say like good enough because that makes it sound like you're
Hmm.
being lazy. But there's a point that like what's it called, the point of diminishing return. Like
Hmm.
beyond that, there's not much else that you can do. Focus on audio if you're
Yeah.
doing YouTube videos or whatever it is. Just like get something that you could shoot like on a GoPro that's nice. You can hold it with a stick or whatever, but focus on
yeah,
your audio over video because audio 100%. If someone's gonna get off of your video, it's because of bad audio. Something just is that the DJI?
Yeah, DJI, man. That's what I run on my GoPro. GoPro 9
Yeah,
works well.
I need to
You
get
know,
the
those
media mod.
wireless lavs are everything,
You
bro.
need the media mod, right?
so no, well, I use the media mod for that, and you're right, you need it because you need to connect your auxiliary. So
Yeah,
definitely need a
because
media mod.
I have the Rode version. You guys probably see them. People wear them on their hats
Hmm.
with little fuzzies or on their shirt or something.
Hmm.
But
Yeah,
that's another great.
roads are good.
That's
Yeah.
another
I
great
have
option. I
yeah,
have
mine
that with
is
the lapel mic, but I never use it
yeah.
because I
No,
don't
I
have
don't
any.
use the lapel mic either, but I use the full aim X5, which is like the Amazon version. Real and Roll said the newer audio is phenomenal and more affordable. Like there's more affordable options, I
Yeah,
guess, but
The
like
newer is
I know
good,
the
yeah.
DJI is bomb. A lot of
yeah,
people love it.
DJI.
Rode is bomb.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, just get good audio if you're gonna make videos. Way better than good video, in my opinion. You need to sound good if someone's gonna click off otherwise.
Oh, you know what? There was another item, and I want to go back to the question of
Yeah,
what did I see that Echo X Gear, right? I know you guys saw my reel, for that boom box that you can drop in the water
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
still sounds.
yep.
But they actually had something very neat, which is it's really a phone case that's waterproof, and it has a speaker out. I don't care too much for the speaker, but it actually has Bluetooth connection to where if you get a phone call, you can actually answer on just it has outside buttons where you just accept the call and you can speak, on speakerphone.
Mm.
Um, and it actually has a walkie-talkie thing where if two people have the same Echo X Gear, it's called I think Echo Extreme. I have it here. Yeah, so the Echo Extreme 2, and you can actually connect them together and you can talk to your fellow anglers in the water, hey, like a walkie-talkie style. So I thought that was cool
That's
for
wild.
80 $80. It's well priced, I would say, for what it is.
Jay, have you ever set up your Garmin to accept your phone calls?
No, I didn't even know the thing.
The 93 SB, you could do that.
93 SB, yeah.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
And another one thing that you have to do is when you get out. So this is a little tip out there for all you guys with the Garmin, the 93 SV, 73 SV, side scan units or whatever. You're going out there, and let's say you're on a familiar lake, but it's been raining recently, or maybe it's been dry recently, and you get out there and you're like, this ain't 12 feet. I know I'm in either more or less water. I know this is reading off, but you can't figure out why it's reading off. What you have to do is you go to your fishing chart, and then you go to your menu, and then it's going to ask you if you want to start recording. And you click enable record, and what that's going to do, it's going to record your actual depth and accordance, and it's going to compare it to your actual depth that you're at right now in accordance to what it says the chart should say, and then it's going to readjust so that you're going to be in a more accurate placement. Then it'll also pick up your shading. So let's say you did depth shading, so you have 0 to 5 feet is red, 5 to 10 feet is yellow, and then 10 to 15 feet is orange or whatever. Now you're going to be actively recording that area, and you're going to see on your contour maps, okay, I'm starting to get into 15 foot of water because I can see my depth shading has switched colors, and you can do it in live time, and it doesn't have to be preloaded, so you can get your depth shading even if that particular lake is not loaded on that, because it's just taking it from the depth you're getting right there. So
that's a good tip.
Get on your fishing chart, get in that menu, and press start record, and that's going to be your depth overview, I believe. Around there, we'll figure that out one time. Next episode.
Yeah, now I want to be respectful of your time, Chris. I know we're kind of running over, man.
No, that's fine.
Anything else that you saw that you think was worth mentioning?
No, I think those were the highlights, right? I think, what I want to do next year, I don't want to work the show, and I think that's the goal. And I want to bring a more interactive experience with the people. And here's why, right? Over the years, the big comment that I hear is, I wish they allowed, people from, just regular people to go in, or public, and they don't, right? And we get all these, if you go to Instagram, the week on iCast, it's gonna be all iCast.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really give you the experience, right? There's more to it. That you see people painting. We had a guy, they had a tuna on a table, and they were doing sashimi. They were printing shirts. Hook, was it Hook? No, Under Armour was printing shirts. For example, Noco had that thing where they had a tent and they had a smoke room with all the lights. That was a cool experience. So those things, are more engaging. You're always going to have the product, right? That's going to be there. It's going to outlive. It's going to be in YouTube for years. But my goal next year is to create a very interactive experience where, either I do live videos, I do, every 2 hours I post an update of something cool, short form, long form, whatever it is, and people can engage and be part of the show, right? That because, at one point I was there where I wanted to be on the show, and all I saw was these videos on Instagram or YouTube. It were more like product showcases. I wanted to see what the show had to give, and it's cool. They had a barber, they had live music with violins and a guitar. It was awesome. It's just a great show.
And it's all that stuff you miss out because you're only getting updates on products.
Mm-hmm.
I got you. Real quick, when you see those guys trying products like new fishing reels or lures or whatever, and they're casting into the lake or that water area, is there fish in there?
Yeah. So actually, FWC stocks the pond prior to right beforehand. So it's funny because the lake has a no fishing sign. If you go to the other side of the pond, it says no fishing. But they stock the pond. I did see some people last year. I didn't see anybody catch anything. This year, I saw people catching them. So I guess they were hungrier.
That's cool.
Interesting.
That's tiny bass, but it's still fun. Oh, another thing that was cool. Last day of the show when we were breaking down. Sadly I didn't have my phone with me. FWC has a small a small aquarium where they have a bass, and you have to guess the weight. And it's interesting because if you look at the glass, and if you've never caught a 8 or a 9 or a 10 pounder, you see it and it looks huge, and you go, "That's a 10 for sure. It's a 10." And when you see that they pull it out, it was incredible. It's huge, right? I've caught 2 9s already, and this one it looked way bigger than my 9s. Just the girth, it was fat, and on the scale, it was only 8 pounds. It was crazy.
Yo,
yeah, but it was impressive. So stuff like that is the experience that people don't get to see on the show, and I think that's what they need, right? Obviously, you're always going to have the products, but I wanted to show them the other side of the show, which is a very cool experience.
Yeah.
And that's a very good important point that you make, because a lot of times, especially on social media, you see especially newer anglers who don't have a measuring board, who don't have a scale. They'll go out and they'll catch a monster and they'll take a picture of it and they'll be like, "What do you guys think it weighs?" Like, man, that's what we think don't matter, because honestly, I've already caught a few 7-8 pound. At least I thought when I was. I will never forget being with Izzy. We caught a fish. I caught a fish with him. It was in the fall, and we catch it, and he sees it. I see it. He helps me land it, and he's looking at me. I'm looking at him. He goes, "Bro, that's a 6. That's a 6 all day." We go to scale it, like 4 something.
Like, yeah, it happens. Yeah,
you know what I mean. So, I'm glad that they had that there for that perspective.
Yeah, that was cool. That was cool.
Yeah, man. No, that'd be dope to be able to show that, like, that side of things that other people don't see. Because I would have never guessed that they have those type of experiences there.
Yeah, I'm gonna load a reel tomorrow. It's a little bit, it's due, right? It's late, but I don't care. I'll just upload it with some of the stuff that I have. It's basically, this is what happened in iCast, right? And it's not showing product; it's showing other stuff that was cool. So I'll upload that tomorrow. But I think next year, what we can try to figure out, if you guys are going, maybe we should do a podcast. I don't know. I'm just maybe going a little bit ahead here, but
that
sounds like we could
episode out there.
We could do a podcast there.
That'd be dope.
Yeah, that would be super fire, man. And I teased it again, not trying to go overly long, but earlier I spoke that Chris and I are teammates for the Pan American Kayak Fishing Championship. So we're both repping.
All right,
Team Puerto Rico,
Team Puerto Rico, yeah,
Puerto Rico, right? So yeah, it's gonna be crazy, man. So we're gonna have an episode at some point in the future, in the next couple of weeks, maybe, where we'll bring some of the team on. That's awesome. But we're both fishing. We're going at the end of September. We're fishing in South Carolina, Lake Murray, and there's, I think, 10 countries being represented.
So I think so, maybe even a little bit more. I know it's going to be a good turnout this year.
Yeah. So Team Puerto Rico is going to have 3 teams of 3 anglers, and we're going against. I know Team USA is going to be there. Canada, Mexico,
República Dominicana, Cuba. Yeah, República Dominicana, Cuba, Venezuela is going to be there. A lot of people. It's going to be a great tournament.
Yeah, I'm super excited, man. It's going to be, and the team captain is Guillermo Gonzalez, so he's a hammer. He's super well known he's just an amazing angler. So it's going to be really, really cool, man. But most importantly, like, for us as Puerto Ricans, like, to be there for the debut appearance of Team Puerto Rico is going to be fire.
Yeah, I think this is big. People don't understand that this is us trying to make bass fishing an Olympic sport. So if you put it this way, you're basically the first Olympic team. It's not real, of course, but you could get that mindset where we're the first pre-Olympic team on a kayak, at least for Team Puerto Rico. So that's cool, right? It's a very big and important tournament for the industry and fishing world as a whole.
Yes.
No.
I'm excited. Sure. I'm so excited that Jay's a part of it. I'm gonna be rooting from the crib. Like,
there you go.
Playing on my Hector level and all that. Nah, man, I'm so excited. I mean, as a Puerto Rican, just to be represented like that, it just feels good, and I can't wait to see the results. Even if we don't yield anything, just to be a part of history like that is an experience.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so let's get into the funny or crummy real quick. We got a couple dad jokes. Before we do that, of course, another shout out to Lead Time, who's our premier sponsor. If you're looking to upgrade your battery, if you got sealed lead acid, AGM battery, or you just need a new lithium battery for your trolling motor, for your electronics, take a look at Lead Time. They really do have some of the best prices out there, and they have free shipping, and you can get 6% off your entire order by using code BDF6. And that just helps them to track it, to make sure that you got it from here, that we sent you. But the link is going to be in the show notes below. So if you're looking to upgrade to lithium battery, definitely check them out. And we only got 2 dad jokes today, but Ray Johnson came through like always, and he dropped 2 of them, bro. So first one, Ray said, I was wondering why the ball kept getting bigger and bigger, and then it hit me. That took a while, a little bit for me to get.
It did too. It was a late registration, that joke.
Yeah, and then the second one from Ray said, I found a wooden shoe in my toilet today. It was clogged.
That's good. That's good. I like that.
I'm sorry, guys. We only got 2 today. Well, nobody else gave us some jokes, but shout out to Ray, always coming through with the jokes, man.
Yeah, Ray always coming through.
For real. Yo, and Chris, thanks so much for being on the show, man. It was awesome. I love to see your insight, and I wasn't joking. Like, your coverage of iCast was some of my favorite, just because of the breadth of what you covered, because it was a little bit of everything. So it was really cool to see that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I had fun here, guys. I this is my passion, right? So having these conversations are great. Stay tuned, though. We have a week ahead of us. I'm going to be uploading a lot of stuff.
Okay. Where can people find you on social and on YouTube?
Yeah, it's going to be Urban Fishing TV. You can find me both on Instagram. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, and then through Facebook. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. And I do have his socials
TV,
linked.
Right?
Yeah, Urban Fishing TV, and I have his socials and his YouTube channel. So head on over there and subscribe to his channel. Follow him on socials as well. And I appreciate you guys for watching. The next episode is going to be August 4th, where we talk to Cody Walling about big guy kayak fishing essentials. So if you're 250, 300, 350 pounds, this episode is going to be just for you guys, because Cody's a big boy. He don't hide it, but he knows how to fish, and he goes after the big one. So we're going to talk all about that. And that's all we got for now, guys. So until next time, peace and God bless.